Sir, we are live now. Please start.
Okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're very happy to see that you've applied for this qualifier process for this BSc degree in Programming and Data Science by IIT Madras. On behalf of the Institute and my own personal behalf, I'm very happy to welcome all of you to this orientation presentation. I hope you pay very close attention to what I will say here for the next hour or so, and then hopefully this will help you prepare well for the qualifiers and do well in it. My name is Andrew Tangaraj. I'm a professor in the Electrical Engineering Department at IIT Madras. I'm a coordinator for the BSc program, and I'm happy to host you this evening. Okay, so this is the overall structure of the program. At this point, you are at the very top. You are at this regular entry into the qualifiers, and assuming you qualify, you will get into the foundation level of the course. And if you finish that, you will get into the diploma level of the course. Then if you finish that, you will get into the degree level of the course. And finally, at the end of it, you can exit with a degree. So there are three different levels. And right now you are at the admission into the first level, which is based on a qualifier process. And in this orientation session, I will walk you through mostly the qualifier process, and all this you can learn eventually on your own as well. So this is sort of high level numbers. We should know a little bit about these numbers. After all, it's a data science program, so you should know something about data. So far, the number of applications received and how many have qualified is there. I think that number is a good number to keep in mind. So number of people who are able to qualify looks like is about 25%. That's fairly high percentage, but still, there's a large number which is not qualifying also, and that's basically that shows that you have to put in the effort after having applied for the qualifiers to prepare well and then write the qualification exam. So there is a good chance, 1 in 4 chance is very good. If as long as you work hard, you really can do well in the program. So after you qualify, I've just indicated to you at a high level where students are currently in the program. This program is little more than a year old, so people have not fully graduated yet, but they are at the diploma level. Quite a few people are at the diploma level. You can see out of the people who started the program, around 13,900 or so, 12,000, more than 12,000 are still active. And out of those who are active, 7,000 are in the foundation level, 4,300 are in the diploma level, and some are sort of waiting. So you see, a good number progressing. So progress is possible as long as you keep working hard, as long as you're interested and you're doing this course out of your own interest and you keep working hard, you will make progress. So it's possible to progress in this program and get to the degree. Okay, so let me focus on the qualifier part a little bit more, a little bit of information on who are the sort of students who are in the program, just to give you an idea that this is a very diverse group of students. You have students from various different backgrounds, arts, science, engineering, technology, management, and students who are fresh out of 12th standard also. So you can see in May 2022, I guess this is a lot of data for you to process, but anyway, like I said, it's a data science program, so you should get used to data. There are about 8,000 students have applied in this May qualifiers. So you can imagine, based on the past percentage, maybe about 2,000 or so will qualify. Seems like a good guess. And out of this 8,000, quite a big number, more than 1,200 is in 12th standard now. They're just about entering 12th standard. 1,400 have finished 12th standard just now. 1,200 have finished 12th standard last year, and 4,000 are from previous years. So you see, there's a big spread in the beginning, and quite a healthy percentage of girls versus boys in the program. So this is that information. And what do people want out of the program when the program has multiple exit points? There are diplomas and certificates and all that. A large fraction wants the degree. I think degree is the attractive point. If you see the age group also, There's a very, very widespread, while many of you might be very young, which is also true, under 30 is the majority. There are 17 people in the age group of 61 to 80. So you have classmates of all age groups, all backgrounds, and in fact, all across the country as well. So you can see here data on where the students are from in the country. Every single union territory is represented, and state, all over the place. Everybody is here in the program. They are doing quite well. And we also have students from other countries, a small but significant number. Okay. All right. So let's just close with this one final thought on how people are doing in the program. I already told you quite a few people have progressed to the diploma level. I think more than 4,000 are in the diploma level after this year's this term's results. And you can see the number of courses that they've completed is quite again varies because some people just joined last term. So there are many who have completed 16 courses in 4 terms and 12 and 14 and all that. So there's a big spread of people in the 6 to 11 group. So everybody is sort of slowly and steadily making progress through the program. Okay, so now that's just background of the program, how many people are there, what they are doing, etc. So now let's come to the most important part of this orientation, which is the qualifier process. All of you have applied for this qualifier process. It is starting tomorrow or today. Today, May 2nd is today. And there's 4 weeks of content. Okay, so it will go pretty fast. So pay attention, be ready. There are 4 subjects: English 1, Mathematics for Data Science 1, Statistics for Data Science 1, and Computational Thinking. All of you must have gotten access, login, password, etc. Login at least, right? So your email ID is your login, and your URL, you should know by now where to go and access the content of the course. I hope all of you have gone there and accessed the content. Okay, so I'll talk briefly about what type of content is available in each of these 4 subjects. There are 4 subjects that you have to do. In each of these 4 subjects, there are different types of content available. I'll give you some hints on how to go through the content, how to study, how to learn, and how to pass the qualifier exam ultimately. And note the date of the exam. The exam is on 5th June 2022. It's a 4-hour exam, and it will be fully based on what you are taught in these 4 weeks. Okay, whatever you study in these 4 weeks is the only content that will be tested on 5th June. You're not responsible for anything else. Of course, the same thing won't come again, it will be modified, but the concepts and ideas are exactly those that are covered in the first 4 weeks, this 4 weeks of qualifiers. Okay, so what is generally the content and what you have to do during the qualifiers? You'll have to watch lecture videos that are released every week. You'll have to attempt something called graded assignment. This is very, very critical and important. You have to attempt and do well in the graded assignment. There is one every week in every subject. Okay, so every week, every subject, there is a graded assignment, and you have to submit it before the deadline. It's extremely important. Every week, we will hold live sessions with people who will help you. So there are instructors who are experts in each of these subjects. They will log in and be live with you to clear doubts. As you're watching the videos, as you're attempting the graded assignment, if you get stuck somewhere, you can attend these live sessions and get your doubts clarified. And this is also very important. Finally, there is something called a discussion forum. This is an email group that's made available to you for posting questions. If you can post your question clearly, either the instructors or your fellow students may answer those questions on the discussion forum. So all of these 4 components are extremely important. Don't just see the videos and forget things. You have to absolutely answer the graded assignment. In fact, if you don't do well in the graded assignment, you will not get a hall ticket for the exam. You won't be eligible for the exam. So it's extremely important that you do the graded assignment. And if you have doubts, attend these live sessions, benefit from them, post them on the discussion forum. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let me go into more detail in the ensuing slides. Okay, so this is how the course page looks. Hopefully all of you have already seen these pages. one subject, every subject will have a page like this. This one is computational thinking. You can see there is this lecture and there is this list of menu items or outline on the left. Okay, you can see week one's content has the first lecture, which is introduction to data sets. And you can see that, you can look at the lecture, and then immediately following the lecture, there are activity questions. You can see AQ 1.1, AQ 1.2. It says not graded, but I would say those are absolutely mandatory to test your understanding. Passively watching the lecture will not help you solve the problems. After watching the lecture, you have to attempt the activity questions on your own. These questions are based on the content of the previous lecture. They're not something different, but they will make you think a little bit. They may not be immediately obvious to you. So you have to watch the lecture very attentively and then go to the activity question immediately. Make sure you do that as soon as you are done with the lecture. Okay, so that's it. That's all is the learning process: lecture, activity question, lecture, activity question. If you do all this properly, diligently, maybe take notes, etc., it will be very easy for you to attempt the graded assignment. Okay, so you can go into the graded assignment later. Okay, so this is how the page looks. You can see the various things are there. There's the tabs on the top. It says course, which is the course content. Then there are scores. The scores you got in your various graded assignment. I'll come to that. Announcements, that's an important page. Make sure you check the announcements in every course. Important updates will be given there. And then the forum. Forum is an external link in this course. You can go to a group in which you can ask questions. So these are the four main tabs in every subject's page. Okay, so first we start with the announcements tab. I'll urge you to go through it. Etiquette is very important. This is an online forum, but all rules or in your social conduct in regular life apply in online forums as well. So you have to be well behaved and have good etiquette. Make sure you look at the discussion forum etiquette process, and it has information on the qualifier process, what is it, and all the other things. So make sure you look at the announcements page closely and keep coming back to it again and again. New and new things will keep getting posted on it, and you will have different announcements here in this page. Okay, so this is the discussion forum. It's actually a Google Groups. If you know, if you've used Google Groups before, your email ID is can be subscribed to it. You can change your membership settings. You can go and get every mail, or you can get a digest, or you can do an abridged form, etc. So you can do that setting. I think we have subscribed all of you with email. Each email as the choice. You can go in and change. If you feel you're getting too many emails from the discussion forums that you don't want, you can change it to digest, which will be roughly one a day or something, so that it's under your control. This is something that you can do if you want to change, but participate in the discussion. You can ask questions, you can answer questions. This will only help you, but follow the etiquette also. Okay, so that's important. So this is how the scores tab looks. We looked at the announcements tab. We looked at the forum tab. The forum, if you click, it will look like the previous slide I showed you. Now you can go to the scores tab. So this will have all the graded assignments listed and the points that you scored in it. Okay. So if it says something out of 100 and points scored, that means you actually submitted the assignment before the deadline and you got points for it. If it says not submitted, you have not submitted that assignment. Okay. And if it says due date has not passed, then that means you're ready to submit. You have to submit, but still you can submit. If it says not submitted, then the deadline has passed. Okay, so you cannot submit it anymore. So make sure you keep track of all your deadlines. There is a regular deadline that will come every week. Content will be released roughly on a Monday or so, and then the deadline will be several days after that. There will be a regular schedule. Make sure you're aware of every week's deadline. Okay, and you have to submit before the deadline. Don't push to the very end. A lot of students tend to go till the last day of the deadline, and then within the last 1 hour they're trying to click very fast, saying this and that and the other, and then you'll miss something. You won't submit something that a lot of things can go wrong at that time. So make sure you submit early. You can submit as often as you like, right? Anytime before the due date, you can keep on submitting. Your latest submission will be taken for grading. Okay, so you can keep resubmitting in case you feel like you made a mistake. So just go ahead and submit. Make sure your submission is in there so that you can you can get score marks. So this part is very important. Make sure you see the screen to confirm that you have submitted. Okay, so this is the calendar. You can see this calendar from the dashboard.
It will be available portal itself, the calendar.
Okay, so there is a calendar link on the portal. You can go click on that. It will give you a calendar for that week. It will tell you when the live sessions are. It will also point out when a particular week starts. It will also have deadlines for the graded assignment. Everything is there in this. Make sure you are aware of how it works. Like I said, it's a regular cycle. So once you know for 1 week, you can easily go for subsequent weeks also. But remember the deadlines, note them down, and don't push yourself all the way up to the end of the deadline. Just make sure you submit sufficiently ahead of time so that you don't get into trouble. And there will be this, okay, anyway, I'll say a little bit more about how to approach the learning as we come along. Okay, so what is the content that is released every week? Okay, so we just saw the pages. First is video lectures by faculty. These you have to see and make notes and understand very well, number one. Next is activity questions. It's based on every video. Every video lecture has activity questions, and passively watching the lecture is okay, but then you should be able to answer the activity question. So a lot of students watch the lecture, look at the activity question and realize, oh, I missed this part in the video, go back, watch the video. So you can go back and forth, and so that the points that are very important, you know what they are. And these activity questions sort of bring out those important points that you should have paid attention to. After that, there are practice assignments. So these are also very important. And there are questions, there's solution, there's video solution for how to solve it, etc. But don't jump into the solution immediately. Make sure you look at the practice assignment, solve it on your own, give it a shot, and then try it and see how it goes. So these are just practice. These are not the graded assignments. Remember that it will say practice assignment clearly in the portal also. But these are practice are very important. More problems you solve, the deeper is your understanding, the better is your chance that you will do well in the qualifier. So make sure you do all the practice assignments, and then there is the graded assignment. So the graded assignment is the one that you have to solve correctly and submit before the due date. Okay, and there's additional content, not just lecture videos by faculty. There's tutorial videos. These are videos where somebody is solving problems. Mostly instructors are solving problems, explaining some important ideas to you on how to convert the knowledge in the lectures into problem solving tips, and how to approach solving of problems. There's also text transcripts and notes available in many subjects. Okay, text transcript is a full lecture in text form that's available for you. So everything the professor spoke will be there in the transcript, so that you can look at as a PDF document or a comfortable document. There's also notes, the slides that the professors use, the notes sometimes that are prepared, extensive notes that are prepared by the instructors. All of these are available. Reference books is things that we point to. And note this down, very important, before the qualifier exam, there will be a mock exam that will be released for you. Okay, so this exam is expected to be good preparation for you for the qualifier exam, to make sure that you practice. Okay, and then of course discussion forum and live sessions are there for you to reach out. So in short, the content is very complete, and everything is here, and we prepare you very well in the hope that all of you will clear the qualifiers. Okay, so it's not a elimination exam. We're not trying to eliminate you. We're trying to get you to qualify, to coach you, to help you. So you can see the extensive list of material out here, and if you do all this sincerely, correctly for each of the 4 subjects, you will do very well. Okay, so that's the content that is released in every course during the qualifiers. Okay, so now let me come to live sessions. You saw in the calendar that there were various types of live sessions. So it turns out there are 4 different types of live sessions. There may be even one more, in fact, but at least 4 different types of live sessions are there. The first one is an activity question live session. So now, after watching the lecture video, when you're trying the activity question on your own, you may have some doubts. Okay, so you may not be you wouldn't have maybe paid attention to the correct part of the lecture, and you did not realize that that part of the lecture is important for problem solving. And if you're confused about activity questions, that is the session you have to attend, the live session that you have to attend to understand a little bit more about the activity questions of that week, the content of that week. Next, there are 2 different sessions for something called Solve with Instructor. Okay, so these sessions are extremely critical. So there's one Solve with Instructor session for practice assignments, and there's one Solve with Instructor session for graded assignments. So if you approach both of these in a proper manner, as in you go with the notebook ready, and then when a problem comes to you, you solve it on your own and try and put out the answer. Instructors will also solve it with you. So these 2 sessions are extremely important for practice so that you become ready for the qualifier. So it's not just about learning concepts, right? You should be able to apply them under some time pressure in an exam situation. So this kind of practice Solve with Instructor sessions gives you that kind of practice. There's so many problems that you will solve, and these are expected to be similar to the graded assignment questions and all that. Okay, so maybe they'll add some change to the question for you to get some idea. So these are the 2 Solve with Instructor session. And then finally, there is another open session where there's no structure as such. You can just come in and ask any question or concern you have about the subjects of that week, and that will be attempted. Okay, so I hope you see these 4 different types of live sessions that are there for you to benefit from and help you prepare for doing the qualifiers very well. So live sessions are very important. If you are confused about something, you can go in and attend. Particularly the Solve with Instructor sessions are extremely, extremely critical for you to do practice with. Okay. So a couple of comments on the live sessions. So most of the live sessions are also recorded, right? They're also put up. So even if you miss that particular time, right? So if live sessions are in a particular time in the calendar, supposing you're not available at that time, then what do? The recording of those live sessions is available. Okay, so you can go see what happened in the live sessions and sort of simulate that live session at any other time, right? So you can do that on your own. That's available for you. So you can go in and see that whenever you want. Even though the live sessions are scheduled, they're also recorded. So you can see them later whenever you have time. Okay, so here are tips to prepare well. I would say actively in an engaged manner, you have to watch the video and make your own notes. Okay, I hope you paid attention to the words I used. Actively, you have to listen, and in an engaged manner, you have to watch the video and try to learn from it. Make your own notes. This part is a very, very critical and important part in your learning process. Make sure you do that. Now, after you have watched the lecture, you have to attempt every assignment on your own first. Okay? Don't jump to the next step of asking somebody for the solution or looking for the solution. There's always a big temptation to look for the solution. When you look at a problem and you do not know how to approach, you're just tempted to look at the solution or ask your friend or something like that. Do not do that. Try every assignment first on your own. Try a few things. See if you are able to get to the answer. I think that skill is a very important skill, basic problem solving skill based on some theory that you have studied, how to solve a problem. So if you can pick up that skill, it's a very, very useful skill for you for the rest of your life. So you have to develop it on your own. Of course, if you're really stuck, if you're not able to understand, you take help. Take help from peers, take help from instructors in live sessions, etc., or post in the discussion forum. You can do that. Well, the third point is very, very, very important. A lot of students tend to get misled by some websites which are selling these answers, or some private groups into which you will be invited to. You will not prepare. You will just, before the deadline, you'll just go to this group. They'll give you the solution. You'll put it up. And these are not good at all. They're not helping you. It will look like you've gotten over something, but you're really hurting yourself in the long run. So never ever do that. It's okay to be part of groups for interaction and all that. I'm not saying no, don't be part of a group on your own, but do solve the assignment on your own, because on the exam day, when you're sitting there in front of the question, nobody's going to help you. Nobody is there for you. Only you are there. So how do you simulate that situation? Whenever you get a chance, when you practice, you have to try and simulate the situation. Try to be on your own as much as possible. in the beginning when you're learning, you take help a little bit, but eventually you should get to a point where you're doing things on your own. And in the discussion forum, you can ask questions, of course, but if somebody else is asking questions, try to understand where that question is coming from. So if you do that, then your understanding of things improves. Okay, so that's also very important. And if of course, if you know an answer, you can also answer in the forum. It improves your communication skill, ability to frame questions in a compact, in a few sentences in a compact way so that it's clear to somebody else. All these are critical abilities that will help you in the long run. Remember that. Okay. So practice assignments have this interesting feature. There is a practice assignment that will come. You can keep refreshing. When you refresh, you will get a new set of questions. So you can practice more and more and more from our question bank. These questions will come to you. So there's no dearth of chance to work on your own and make your concepts better so that you can solve more and more problems. Okay. So all these are important tips. Pay attention particularly to the third one. Don't get tempted to quickly get the answer from some other place. That doesn't help you at all, and you'll be only hurting yourself. Okay. So now a couple of important things about eligibility. You have got into the qualifier process, but depending on how you do these 4 weeks, you may or may not be eligible to write the exam. Okay. So how do you make yourself eligible to write the exam? You have to submit graded assignments, and the best 3 out of the first 4 weeks graded assignments. There are 4 graded assignment in every subject. In every subject, we will take the best 3 out of the 4, and depending on which category you fall into, let's assume you're a general category student, your minimum marks in those best 3 out of 4 must be 40% in every single course or every one of those 4 courses. Only then you are eligible to write the qualifier exam. Only then you will get your hall ticket. If not, you will not get the hall ticket. A lot of people miss this very critical point. Make sure you are submitting your graded assignment every week. Okay, if you belong to other categories, SC, ST, disability or OBC NCL, there is a relaxation to this 40%. It goes down to 35 or 30 in some cases, but there is a minimum eligibility criteria for every student in the program. Only if you attempt the graded assignments and get marks, minimum cutoff marks, you will be eligible to appear for the qualifier exam. Otherwise, you cannot appear. Okay, so remember this. This is an important eligibility requirement. Okay, so how do you pass the qualifiers? In every subject, you have to get at least a certain minimum. Let's keep the general category learner as the example. If you're a general category learner, in every subject, you have to score a minimum of 40% in the qualifier exam. The qualifier exam that you write, you submitted all your assignments, you became eligible for the qualifier exam. June 5th, you went and wrote. There are 4 subjects you have to write, and the marks for each subject has come out. Now, how are you eligible? When have you cleared the qualifiers? When have you qualified? You have to get a minimum of 40% in each of the subjects. Okay. And together, all the 4 subjects put together, you have to get a minimum of 50. Okay. So you see where we are going, right? You cannot just get 40, 40, 40, 40 in all 4. Then even though each subject you've got minimum 40, you have not qualified because the overall percentage is still only 40. Okay. So you have to do well enough so that your overall total crosses 50%, and in each subject you are at least 40%. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. There are relaxations for other categories. If you are in ACST, PWD, there are various relaxations. This 40 becomes 30, 50 becomes 40, etc. So you can see this table. This gives you all the information you need for the qualifier exam passing criteria. Just to mention, all this information is there in the web pages. If you go through the website, you would know all this, but just we're repeating this for emphasis in the orientation. I hope this is clear to you. So hope you understand how to qualify in this process. On June 5th, that exam is there. You become eligible only when you submit assignments and you score a minimum in the best 3 out of 4 in every subject. Then you have to write the qualifier. You need in every subject a minimum, and the overall total should also be greater than something. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, what happens after the qualifier exam? Okay, so results will be declared on June 15th. Okay, June 5th is the qualifier. Results will be declared on June 15th. Okay, after that, you have the option. You have two options. You could continue with courses in the May term itself. Okay, you've started May first week. You've gone 4 weeks. You've written the qualifier exam. You have the option of continuing with the courses from June itself, in the May term itself. That is one option for you. You can register for either one course or two courses or three courses or four courses. Okay, the number of courses you can register to is actually limited based on your total qualifier exam score. Okay, so this is something called credit clearing capability, CCC. It's an important character of our program. Depending on how well you do, you can register for more courses. For instance, if your total qualifier exam score is more than 70%, then you can register for 4 courses in the first 2 terms. Okay, this is allowed. So you can continue all the 4 subjects if you got more than 70. If, on the other hand, you got only between 50 to 70 in the total qualifier score, you cannot do 4. You should do only 3. Okay, so it's sort of, we are trying to determine how to maximize your, your ability to learn concepts within the time period that you have, right? So based on how well you can do. So if you are less than 50 and between the minimum required and 50, depending on, I think if you are a general category learner, your total is going to be more than 50. But it's possible that you come below 50. If you come below 50, then you can register for only 2 courses in the first 2 terms. Okay. So once again, let me repeat. If after the qualifiers, the results will be out on June 15th. So you're allowed to continue, right, in the same term itself. Okay, so after June 5th, even though you wrote the qualifiers, June 6th, there'll be some content released. You should continue to study that. Okay, if you think you can study 2 subjects, you should continue to study. If you think you can study all 4 subjects in that term, you can continue to study. You should keep continuing to study. But the results for the qualifier will come only on June 15th. If on June 15th you actually qualify, you can register for how many ever courses you are continuing to study. And that depends on your qualifier marks. If you got more than 70, up to 4 courses, up to 4 only. You can choose to do less than 4 also. It's your choice. But up to 4, you can continue. I hope this is clear. So students who are qualifying successfully can continue in the May term. It is allowed. It's possible for you to keep continuing. Okay, so this is the first thing to keep in mind if you qualify. Of course, if you don't qualify, you will have to stop at that, right? So you don't have the option of continuing. Okay. So here is some more detail. If you pass in the June 5th exam, so if you qualify in the June 5th exam, you can continue to study 1, 2, 3 or 4 courses from week 5 onwards. While you're waiting for the result, like I said, June 6th itself, you should continue to study. You shouldn't give up. Once the qualifier result is declared, you can register and continue with the program in May term, right? Nothing wrong with this slide. This should be May term. It's not Jan term. Right? Okay, so I think this is not Jan. I'm sorry for that. It's I don't know why is that disappearing, but this is not Jan term. It's in the same term. In the May term, you can continue.
It's in previous slides, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you can do this quickly. It says Jan term. Is it okay? I think I should maybe go in and make this change myself so that. Oh, you've changed it? Okay, good. Good. Now you see the correct slide. So you can continue with the program in May term. Okay. So of course, from June 6th, you're continuing. When will the result come? The result will come, it says 10th June and 11th June. Let's just say 15th June or so, the results will come. And at that time, you'll have to pay some registration fee and continue on whatever you want. So the qualifier that you wrote will be counted as quiz 1 score in that case. In the first, now we are in the program, right? You've qualified. You're already in the foundation program. In the foundation program, in that term, for every subject, there will be a quiz 1 and a quiz 2. The qualifier that you wrote now will get counted as quiz 1 for you. Okay, so you get the quiz 1 marks. Quiz 2 actually is in 10th July. Okay, again, how many ever subjects you're continuing, you can write quiz 2, and final exams are in 7th August. So how many ever subjects you're continuing, you can continue with 7th August. So you can clear some number of foundation level subjects in the first term itself. So this is one option. This is the first option. Now, okay, so now you should remember that there is all sorts of eligibilities. Okay, so when you're continuing in a subject, for you to be eligible to write the final exam for a particular subject, the best 5 out of the first 9 weeks assignments should be at least 40. So this is like an attendance percentage. In most places you'll see only if you have a certain minimum attendance, you can write the final exam. Otherwise you cannot write, right? So you have to think of this eligibility as like attendance. It's not attendance, but it is a eligibility for you to write the final exam. Okay, there are first 9 weeks, there are 12 weeks in the course. We'll take the first 9 weeks, look at your graded assignment score. Only if your graded assignment in the best 5 out of the first 9 is greater than or equal to 40, you will be eligible to write the end-term exam. This is very, very, very important. People often forget this. They stop submitting graded assignment thinking that they've qualified. They don't have to do anything, but then you will not qualify for the end-term exam and you'll be wasting your first term. So make sure that you are regular in your work and keep on submitting your graded assignment before the deadline. As long as you do that, you'll be okay. Don't miss the graded assignment deadline throughout while you are in this program. Okay, here is option 2. Remember, you've qualified in the June 5th exam. Okay, the results came out sometime in June 15th, let's say. Now you can also decide that I don't want to continue in this term. I will come back and join in September term. So now there is a caveat here. All of these carrying on apply only for students who have cleared class 12. Okay, I should clarify this from this point itself. This option of continuing in the program is available only for those who have cleared class 12. Okay, so those of you who are in class 12 now, who are entering class 12 now, you will not be able to continue in the May term. Okay, I hope this is clear. Maybe this is a point important enough to put it here. Maybe I should do it right away. Option 1, continue May term only for those who have finished class 12. Okay, so this is something very important. It's sort of natural. That's why we have not put it in the beginning. But remember that if you are in class 12 now, you cannot continue in May term. This option is not allowed for you. Remember that. So this option is there only for those who already finished class 12. Okay. So option 2, again, you can defer to September 2022 term. And this also is allowed only for those who have already finished class 12. Okay. So of course, if you're in September, you're in class 12, you can't be in degree program also. Remember that. So you can only do this if you've already finished class 12. So if you finish class, if you've qualified in the June 5th qualifier and you don't want to continue, you want to take a break and start afresh in the September term, you can do that. But remember, the registration for the courses in the September term will begin in August, and it is your responsibility to know that August 3rd week it will be there. You should come in when the form opens. Of course, we will send you mails, but people tend to forget mails. So you should come in and register on your own, and you should remember this. Okay. And, like I said, every week that you're in the program, you have to keep submitting graded assignments. Those things don't stop at all. And if you defer to September, you have to write the first quiz again. This qualifier exam being considered as quiz 1 will not happen for you. That happens only if you continue in the May term. Okay, so I hope these options are clear to you. So even now, think about it and make up your mind. Okay, so you're appearing for the May qualifiers. You're writing the qualifier exam in June 5th. If you're only in class 12, no option. You cannot do anything. You're qualified. You have to be happy with your qualification. If you have already finished class 12, then you have a couple of options for you. You can either continue on in the May term, or you can defer to the September term. If you continue in the May term, qualifier became quiz 1, and there is a number of course limit that you can do, you can continue. And if you go to September, again, the number of course limit and all will apply, but you have to rewrite quiz 1. But always submit graded assignments every week, because eligibility and all that depends on that. Okay, hope you remember this. Okay, so now there is a makeup qualifier possible. Okay, in case you wrote the June 5th exam and you could not pass, let's say that can happen, or something unforeseen happened and you could not go for the June 5th exam. So for both of these students, there is a makeup exam possible, and that date is July 10th, 2022. So if you're not able to appear for June 5th, or if you don't pass in June 5th, you can try again on July 10th. There is a fee here. So whatever fee you paid for the qualifiers, you have to pay 50% of it so that you can appear for this re-exam. Okay, so it's like a makeup exam we offer you for the qualifier alone, but this doesn't apply for everybody, only for those who did not qualify or were absent for the June 5th exam. So you don't give up hope if you feel like, June 5th, you didn't have a good time, if something was disturbing you, you didn't do well, you have another chance on July 10th to write the exam and qualify. So there are multiple choices. Okay, that's the last slide.
No, sir, we have.
Okay, all right. So here is so what happens to the other category of students? Now, supposing if you do not become eligible to write the qualifier exam, right? You did not submit the weekly assignments in spite of me asking you so many times. You did not submit the weekly assignments. You did not get enough marks. Then what does it do? When you have to attempt again in September 2022 and repeat the whole thing. Okay. So eligibility, not being eligible is a big problem. So it's like you never did anything. You'll have to repeat the whole process. Okay. Okay. So there are some things here. So I think this is sort of the end of the qualifier description. I hope the description is clear enough to you. Now, what about students who are in 12th standard? What happens to them? You have now qualified. Okay. And the only option available to you at this point is you can come back after you have finished your 12th standard. Whenever you finish your 12th standard, you can come back and join in that term. It's most likely May 2023, right? So May 2023, you would have already written your 12th standard exam. After you write your exam is good enough. Results, we can wait. Whenever you write your 12th standard exam, in the term immediately following that, you can go ahead and register for courses, and you'll have to do the courses fresh. You'll have to start from week 1 and repeat the content. Okay, I hope we've covered every single case of students in the program, different type of students, what happens to you under different categories. So of course, I mean, if you don't do well in both June and July, you can again try in September. There's no limits on the number of times you can try. So by nature, this is a very different program. It's very flexible. It's meant to help you, to support you, and help you do well in the process. Okay. All right. So now, how do you think of the program? How do you plan the program in your mind? Right. So let's say you've qualified, you've gotten in. How do you plan the program in your mind? So here are different ways in which you can do the degree and the diplomas. Okay. So there is the fastest route. A lot of people think of taking the fastest route. I will advise you seriously against it. Our data from the past 4 terms show that the fastest route does not work at all. I will advise very strongly against taking the fastest route unless you're absolutely sure that you can do everything at super duper pace. Okay. So we do allow for a maximum of 4 courses in a term, but the 4 courses can become really, really, really hectic. And unless this is the only program you're doing, it's, in my opinion, very, very difficult to do four subjects in every term. Okay. And you can plan it out. There are various ways of planning it out. The most popular type of plan seems to be doing the foundation in 1 year. Take 1 year for foundation. Do those courses very well. There are only 8 courses, but do it as 3 plus 3 plus 2. Okay. In particular, Math 2 and Stats 2. Okay. So these 2 courses, along with maybe Python, depending on your background, generally have the reputation of being tough courses. Okay. So you don't want to do all of them together. Okay. So you have to plan it so that you can do 3 plus 3 plus 2 and distribute, Maths 2 and Stats 2 differently. English 1, English 2 have the reputation of being the easiest courses. So you can do them in some along with other courses easily. So you have to plan all that very carefully and go ahead. So generally 1 year for foundation is a good idea, and then maybe about more than a year for the 2 diplomas, and you can take a slow pace from that point on. I hope this slide also illustrates there are multiple ways to go through the course. Don't be stuck with the traditional thinking that, I have to finish everything very fast. I think you can take your time, take it slower, and work on a deeper understanding, and that is always possible, and that's really encouraged by this program. Okay, so you can see here some recommendations. I think, for instance, a recommendation like medium pace, right? The medium pace is something very comfortable. You can do English 1, Maths 1, and computational thinking in the first term. English 1, Stats 1, English 2, and Maths 2 are comfortable to do in the second term. And then you can do Stats 2 and Intro to Python. So this last term will be a bit demanding for you. And then, but still it's doable. If you want an even slower pace, that's also possible. I think those of us who have time, I would really recommend term 1, term 2, term 3, term 4. You do 2 courses at a time, particularly if you're from another background. If you're, say, from an arts background or a medical background or some other background, and you haven't been exposed to this kind of math in a long time, I would definitely suggest taking it a bit more easy and going through the slower pace, at least for foundation. Once your foundations are in, maybe you can do a little bit accelerated route. Of course, the fastest is to do 4 courses a term. This is for people who can consume a fair amount of sophistication. Maths 2 and Stats 2 and Python, doing all 3 together will require considerable time. Every week there'll be multiple assignments you have to submit. Unless you can be that regular, I would definitely not advise. But look at the number of hours per week that you need. Okay, 40 hours per week you need at the fastest pace. Okay, and I mean, this is really needed. Okay, let me just be very clear with you. This may be an online program. A lot of people think online program is an easy program. I don't have to spend time at all, but this program is not like that. It's a very rigorous, demanding program. So when we say 40 hours a week, we mean 40 hours a week. You will not do well if you do less than 40 hours. Maybe the first term is a little bit easy if you've already, say, prepared for JEE and all that. But otherwise, starting with the second term, you will struggle. Okay, so you have to be ready for spending that time. The time is important. Struggle in the sense, just the time. It's not that it's much more difficult, but you have to spend that time to learn. Okay, so you can see how if you have only 30 hours a week, then it's better to do the medium pace. If you can afford only 20 hours a week, then it's better to do the comfortable pace, and you can really learn and you will have a good time. You will not be under stress to submit assignments and all that. You can really learn very well. Okay, so I hope I've given you a brief idea of how to plan the rest of your program. This kind of planning is very important, and orientation is a good time to spend time on this. So most programs, campus programs that you're used to, don't give this kind of flexibility. So people just don't know about these things, and they assume they have to do everything all the time, but it's not really needed. Okay, so you can take your time and spend as much time as you have available for you every week. Okay, so there's also a very healthy, very interesting, active student life outside of academics in the program. Okay, again, people think it's an online course. They think they're alone. They don't have friends or anything. But the students in our program are really having a great life outside of academics. They've made very good friends across the country, right? So this is the thing where people across the country are in the program. Different age groups also. People have made friends across age groups, and all of that is very interesting dynamics that's happening in the program. We have 12 houses, like hostels, houses. These are all named after the forests in India. Pretty many of you maybe have lived near these forests or maybe gone to these forests. These are the names of the 12 houses. And within houses, people are put into groups. Now, these groups are smaller in size, and we've kept geographical proximity in mind when we put people in groups. So once you're in a group, you can even, you'll get to meet some of your group members when you go to the exam hall and all that. And then there are lots of activities, the group leaders, the previous students in your program, they'll, do events. There'll be mentors who will interact with you, and you can get involved in that. So there is a very active and engaging student life that is part of the program. Okay, so we really want to, so these things are important, right? Particularly in an undergraduate degree, these are very important. You have to open your eyes to people who maybe have come from a different background, and you really learn about the world, you learn about other people, how to talk to them, and you learn about these boundaries. What are these boundaries? What is the meaning of being inclusive? What is the meaning of not hurting someone? What's the meaning of harassments and all these other things? How to deal with these things? What is bullying, virtual bullying, real bullying, all of these things, and how to deal with them, how to grow into an adult, being an adult from being a school kid that many of you may be. Of course, for the older people, they deal with this very differently. If you're a working professional or someone, again, you can get involved in the house as a mentor. You get this fantastic opportunity to interact with young students and mentor them. A lot of working professionals do that in our program, and we're really thankful to them. Many of them do mentoring sessions, talk to students, talk to young kids about what life is, what work is, how to do all these things. And all of these things are very important. And of course, you have to do all this with responsibility. We will respect your privacy, and you should also respect the privacy of others and be within boundaries. All of those are also extremely important. Okay, so there's also learner support services. I want to briefly talk about that. First of all, financial support. There's lots of scholarships based on various criteria, particularly for economically disadvantaged students whose family income is less than 1 lakh. There are 75% scholarships available. Family income between 1 lakh to 5 lakh, there are 50% scholarships available. All of these are made possible by generous support from various donors and corporates. So financial support is part of the program. And we also provide placement and internship support. As you go through the program towards the very end, when you finish your diplomas and degrees, we will facilitate placements for you through our dedicated placement team. There's, of course, a huge amount of administrative support that we do. Our support staff work day and night to respond to email, phone calls, and there'll be lots of issues and changes and modifications with respect to portal, course selection, fee payment, exam centers, exam dates, this, that data is not there, this data is not there, etc. All of that, the one-stop email ID is support@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. Definitely, you can write to that. And student affairs and wellness support. Those of you who have challenges in wellness, you can always write to student_affairs@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. In case anything unsettling or uncomfortable is happening to you, you can write to student_affairs@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. So we support our learners in a holistic way. We promote their growth in a holistic way, and that's very much a part of the program. Okay, so here are a few important documents that you have to track. When you log in, you will see a dashboard. This is the learner's dashboard. But this will not be there during the qualifier phase.
Qualifier, it will be available.
Something like this will be there. So there's a dashboard. So this dashboard is something you have to get used to. Make sure you know all those things in the dashboard. A lot of things will be given to you in the dashboard. Make sure you check your mail regularly. Almost everything we do will always have an email sent to you. Okay. You cannot come back and tell us, oh, I didn't check my mail. I didn't read my mail closely enough. So the mail will have a certain language. It will describe something precisely, correctly. You have to make sure you read everything and understand what it is. This is the process of, understanding email messages. All of these are important processes in trying to become a professional from a student, right? You have to learn how to read the email, understand what it is, and keep up with that and make sure everything is done.
Posting in this announcement document also.
Okay. So there is an announcement document. All your announcements are kept together. Okay. We are trying to help you with as much information as possible. There is a handbook that you can look at. This calendar, what courses you're in, your exam cities, hall tickets. All of them are here in this dashboard. So it's an important place to get used to. Okay. So there's also malpractice documents. You can go take a look. There's any kind of academic malpractice or any other malpractice. What is the punishment for all of that and things like that. It's all described. Actions that will be taken if you do something. All of that are described in this document as well. Okay, so all this is after the qualifiers. Okay, so this is after the qualifiers, and you can see that you can report harassment and all that. So all of that happens after you qualify. Okay, so do we need this malpractice and all that? Not needed, right? So anyway, so I think let me not spend too much time on malpractices. These are this is important in the orientation. You should know once you qualify, all the rules of academic malpractice will will apply to you. There are certain accepted rules that we have. If you indulge in some malpractices, some things will happen. So I just want to point out that these are part of the program. They are available in your dashboard. You can take a look at it. I'm not spending too much time on it, but all of these are not allowed. So I hope you know enough about what unfair communication in exam means, use of material devices not allowed means, impersonation, plagiarism, forging documents. All of these things have very clear punishments from failing that particular course or getting 1 grade lesser to expulsion from the program. All of these are very well defined in the academic malpractice document. Just being complete in my introduction here, I really hope that none of you have to do get into any of this. I'm sure many of you won't. So just to give you a complete picture of all the information. Okay, there's also non-academic misconduct and all of this. I want to spend a little bit of time on this because this is important. People here are from various backgrounds and you've grown up in different ways. Okay, and we've seen in the past that students, young and old, tend to be rude when they write emails. Okay, they do something on social media which is hurtful to their other friends. They're slandering, spreading false information about the program, posting something, tweeting something which is really incorrect about the program. And definitely cyberbullying or intimidation of any kind and making internal communication public. So all of these things are not acceptable behavior, particularly intimidation, cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is very, very serious offenses. I will say a little bit more about these things soon enough. But all of this non-academic misconduct also has its consequences. Remember, this is a full, complete program. We give you the liberty, we expect you to grow, but at the same time, we have to draw boundaries for you. So if you make any of the mistakes, then there are punishments corresponding to that of different nature, depending on the nature of your misconduct. Okay. So web etiquette, let me spend time on this because quite often young and old students of various types forget this when they get upset. When you get emotional, writing on the web, writing emails and all of that, we don't pay attention to this. And this ends up causing so much hardship, unnecessary hardship, which we should avoid. Okay. Keep this in mind. These will help you a lot in life. Forget about this program. In life, these will help you. Okay. Whenever you're communicating with someone else, you have to treat them with the same respect that you expect to receive, whoever they may be. Okay, quite often we'll see that we'll treat someone who we think is beneath us or below us in a different way, and they're arrogant to them. We write harsh emails to them. This is completely unacceptable. There's no reason to do that. You have a professional relationship with people, and you have to write professionally. You have to write respectfully. There's no reason. You can state your point respectfully and in a very clear way, and you will be respected for that. It will not be ignored. This common mistake that people think in some cases is if you don't raise your voice and make some ugly scene, people don't take you seriously. This program is not like that. When you write respectfully, clearly stating what the issue is. And if there is a logical flaw or mistake that we have made, we will be the first to accept and correct it. Okay, there's no need to raise your voice, there's no need to be impolite. A lot of people tend to do that. In particular, to your fellow students, our support staff who are responding to your email, our instructors and faculty. Sometimes our support staff will be very brief in their mail because they're writing thousands of emails, right? So they can't be very elaborate. So you have to understand that. You have to respect that and be very courteous and be constructive. Don't criticize someone in public. Don't point out errors in a public forum. These are considered non-constructive. There's nothing that happens. If somebody is being impolite, you can write to the support staff about it. No need to confront them directly in a public forum. That only causes more outrage and people get upset. Of course, if you can write politely, you can write very politely and be very clear on that. It's important. The last point I want to emphasize a lot, we are all different types of people. We grew up differently. You have to respect that diversity and treat everyone with the same dignity that you expect to have. Okay, no offensive messages, no discriminatory messages, and sometimes people don't know what is not offensive and discriminatory. I mean, for instance, if you grew up watching certain types of movies, you think everything is acceptable. That's not true. People get upset when they receive discriminatory, offensive messages. Be very careful. Do not send anything that could be construed as offensive or discriminatory. Even though we are online, every law that protects rights and dignity are applicable on online interactions also. Okay, so you can all this can hurt you in various different ways, but just a few simple rules, these 4 simple rules, if you apply, you will be fine. Just if you're very emotional, angry, you're typing out an email, don't do it. Just step back, think about it for a few days, maybe, I don't know, a few hours at least, right? And then come back and look at it, and then write calmly, constructively, make your point. You don't have to give up your point. You can make your point without getting angry or upset about it. And that goes a long way in helping everybody resolve situations. Okay, so web etiquette is extremely, extremely important. I know I spent quite a bit of time on it because of its importance. Okay. Okay, so what is our policy on cyberbullying? Okay, so thankfully this has not happened too much in our program, but we have to be very clear on cyberbullying. Okay, what is cyberbullying? This happens all over the place. You can see this in social media. The group of people or one individual will go angrily at somebody else, insulting them, saying all sorts of things. You're like this, you're like that, etc., etc. So what do? They could send some message, they, say something to get somebody else to be angry, say some completely unrelated thing. Here are some examples. These are very limited examples. You may spread some lies, spread some photo of someone, you may troll someone, send some memes against another person, you may impersonate someone, send mails on behalf of somebody else, you hack into somebody's account, sending abusive messages, sharing somebody else's private message to you in a public forum and threatening to do so, and threatening to commit violence, threatening pornography, stalking someone, sending targeted messages. This is a website that I've given. It's an Indian government website, and it clearly describes cyberbullying. All of these are, of course, really illegal, and these come very prominently in our non-academic misconduct rules. So if anything like this happens, we will take very swift, strict action to bring it under control. Okay, so what about policy on sexual harassment? This is also important to know. What is sexual harassment? Any unwelcome behavior. And who decides what is unwelcome, right? So this is also something that's very important. It's not the person who did it. It's the person who's on the receiving end. They decide what is unwelcome. So quite often in cases of sexual misconduct, you'll see that people who did it will always say, oh, I thought this was natural. I saw this actor do it in this movie. I saw that actor do it in that movie. I see my friend doing it. Why can't I do it? It's not you who decide. It's the person who's on the receiving end who will decide whether or not a particular act of yours is sexual misconduct. And make it a point to read up about this and make sure you understand what sexual harassment is. Here are some sexual harassment examples. Any kind of sexual content that you send to someone without their consent is sexual harassment. It can include unwelcome sexual advances or requests for sexual favors, sexualized comments. All of these constitute sexual harassment. Okay. So in case you are a victim, if you feel victimized by any of these things, you should not feel embarrassed. It's not your responsibility. It's not your mistake. There may be a lot of societal pressure which will try to convince you that it was your mistake. It was not your mistake. But keep a record of all that happened. Don't get disgusted and delete the whole thing. Keep a record of all that happens, because that's what will be needed in evidence in case you choose to complain about it. So as long as you're in this program, any sexual harassment complaint that happens to you, you can write to students-grievance@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. We want a very comfortable, safe, engaging learning atmosphere. So we want to empower each and every one of you to have protection against any kind of harassment, including sexual harassment. And as a policy, IITM has a zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment of any type, and any complaint that you make will be thoroughly investigated, and we'll get down to the bottom of it and take strong action against perpetrators of sexual harassment. I hope this is clear. Note down this email ID if you have to complain about sexual harassment. Okay, so I think that's it. Those are the important points in the orientation. If you want more details, please go to onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. Let me stop with the slide on how to pass the qualifiers. I think this is important. This is your main focus right now. I want you to focus on tips to prepare well, go through every video that comes every week, and make your own notes, attempt every assignment, take help, but do it on your own. Don't resort to cheap, easy ways to do your graded assignments and all that. It doesn't help you. And use the discussion forum, use the live sessions. Do all problems by yourself. This will help you in the long run. Thank you very much. Very happy that you applied to qualifiers, and all the very best. Enjoy your learning. And I hope all of you qualify. We've had a 25% qualifier percentage. I'll be very happy with the 50%, 75%, who knows, 100% qualifier rate. My very best wishes to you. Thank you.
Are we going to take questions?
I don't think there's any way to take questions now. So okay?
Okay.
No? So I don't think we can take questions. This is being streamed on YouTube. I hope you have a...
Floated up. Take a question. If you want, we can take or else.
Okay, so there are 10 questions, is it? Yeah, maybe we can go through. So apparently there's a form that was floated and some 10 questions came. Then let's see what the questions are.
What will be the pattern of qualifier exam?
Okay, what will be the pattern of the qualifier exam? Like I said, we're not going to give out the pattern as such, but do your practice assignments well, graded assignments well, that will help you, and do the mock exam. Okay, so the mock exam is a good indicator of the level of the qualifier exam.
Can I do higher study like MSc Data Science after this program?
So see, the degree that we give is a regular degree. It's just a BSc degree like any other BSc degree. It's BSc in the area of programming and data science. Now, if there is a PG program that's run by anybody, they will specify what undergraduate degrees qualify. Okay, so typically they may say BSc in mathematics or BSc in physics. And so depending on which PG program you are aiming for, there may be some qualifying criteria of that nature. So some programs like MBA or something say any BSc is okay. They don't want any particular specialization. So in which case that's okay. There are some dedicated MSc data science programs, very few of them today, not many out there. Some of them will accept our degrees, but it's not very plentiful today. So we don't run an MSc program at this point. It's only a BSc program as far as at this point. But I think there are things that are being talked about, and as we go along in the next year or so, there will be more opportunities to do further studies. Maybe a 4-year program instead of a 3-year program is possible. It's likely we may come up with something like that. And then some PG admissions to other interesting possibilities may end.
What are the ways to continue the program if I am not in India?
So if you're not in the country, there are some countries in which we actually run centers, like UAE is an example, Kuwait is an example, Sri Lanka is an example, Singapore is an example. So in many countries, we actually have centers. So you can continue like normal, there's nothing more. There is an extra exam facilitation fee for those centers because it costs us money to set up centers in the country. Now, if you're not in any of the countries where we have centers, you can still continue. There is a way in which you can do that. Please write to support@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. They will tell you how to do that. So that's also possible. You can continue wherever you are, and even if you are traveling from one place to the other, also you can continue. It's possible.
Can I do this program simultaneously along with my BTech?
Yeah, so as you must have heard about the recent pronouncement from the UGC, they've allowed for dual degrees. One more online degree along with the physical degree is possible. That's what they say. So I mean, from our side, we don't restrict. You can be in our program. In fact, our program has a certificate exit, a diploma exit, and you can pace yourself properly. The only difficulties we see usually with people doing 2 degrees is the time they need is very hard. So I mean, the time they need for the physical on-campus degree and this somehow doesn't match up very well. It'll be stressful for you, but it's possible. A large fraction of the current students in our program are actually doing 2 degrees. So it may change later on also. It depends on your choice. It's possible. It's not ruled out from our point of view.
Get any hard copy of study material?
So hard copies, we don't send any hard copy of study material to for any reason. PDF files and other such files of notes and textbooks, and sometimes in some cases some additional slides and all that will be available, but no hard copies. We don't send any hard copies of study material.
How much time will the working professional can spend for?
So the time we had for you, every course in the foundation level, I would say 10 to 15 hours minimum, depending on your background. I think if you have already some background in math, maybe even 5 to 10 hours is okay for every course per week. But the way lectures itself will be 3.5 hours sometimes, right? So you have to see the lectures, do the problems. I think 10 hours per week per subject is an absolute must. So the qualifier phase will be very difficult for you. The 4 weeks of the qualifier will be a bit tough on you. Somehow, if you manage after that, you should reduce. I think if you're a working professional, you can do 2 or 3 courses a term. Not more than that, it's very, very hard. So I think, again, calculate based on the amount of time you'll be able to spend. Actually calculate how many hours per week you can spend. So most professionals in the program, there is a big professionals group in the program, by the way. About 20% of the students we have are working professionals. So most of them have a plan. Every week, every day they try to spend some time, and weekend is when they really push and spend a lot of time, sit down and do a good job. So I think that's, so you have to plan though. I think at best you can do 2 or 3 courses, not more than that.
Will there be any ranking in qualifiers?
No, there's no ranking. We don't do any ranking at all. Of course, there's a CGPA that will come as you continue in the program, and depending on how good a CG it is, you may be on different parts of the class spectrum, but we don't do ranking explicitly.
Will there be any placement after this program? If yes, what will be the estimated
package? So this program is very new at this point. Nobody has graduated yet. It's only 1.5 years into the program. As part of the program, we have a dedicated placement support group. Okay, so the placement support group has already done a few pilots. We are in talks with companies. So we will facilitate opportunities for you. I think beginning with the time when you get 2 diplomas or maybe 1 diploma or so, we will start giving you internship and opportunities for placements as well. I mean, package and all that, we don't have numbers right now. We don't have average numbers. So I don't want to say anything based on that, but I can tell you the market is very good right now. The companies that come to us and ask for students are quoting reasonably high numbers. So I don't think you'll be disappointed with the package.
Scholarship, especially at the female.
Yeah, so scholarships. So if your family income is less than 1 lakh, I already mentioned that there is a guaranteed 75% scholarship. And depending on our ability to raise money, we can give you more. And what we have always said is that up to 100% scholarship for girl students is available. We do have quite a few donors at this point who want to support girl students. So at this point in the program, all students who are less than 1 lakh family income are getting 100% scholarship. As and when they pass, they are getting 100% scholarship. Quite a few girl students, I think all girl students less than 5 lakh are getting 100% scholarships. Of course, the 100% scholarship depends on our ability to raise funds from various donors and sources. So far, we've been successful. We do see quite a promising funding opportunity ahead of us. So I think we can for most girl students who qualify, we can give scholarships up to 100% in the less than 1 lakh income category. 1 lakh to 5 lakh, mostly we should be able to do as well.
Will there be any master's program?
So right now we are not planning master's programs for this program at this point, because I think that there will be other solutions that are possible. There is talk of, for instance, a GATE in data science, GATE exam, right? So graduate training, entry exam for PG studies in IITs and all that. There's a plan for GATE exam. So I think many universities are slowly starting. IITM right now has an MTech degree, but that doesn't have admission directly from here. So we're working on it. In the next few years, it's likely that we may have a 4-year BS along with this BSc. That is likely. And there may be possibilities of getting admission to PG programs based on that.
Will it be eligible for government exams after?
So this is a question that is so far we're not able to answer 100% positively, but I think it should be okay because I don't see any problem as far as to the extent that I could check. UPSC asks for a degree, a UG degree, and this degree is a degree from IITM, and it's as valid as any other UG degree. So in my assessment, it should be possible. As more people graduate and start writing, we can be 100% super duper sure. But I think it's a valid degree. I don't think they can say no to a valid degree, a valid or approved degree given by IIT Madras. Cannot be ruled out by anybody, right? So how can they say no to that? I don't see a reason why they'll say no. At least that's where we are at this point. Okay. I hope some of the main questions we have tried to answer. These are regular questions that keep coming. We put them in the FAQ also. Please take a look at the FAQs. And once again, let me finish by wishing you all the very best. I hope all of you qualify and do well in the qualifiers. All the best. Thank you. Balaji, live stop பண்ணிடலாம்.